Hi everyone, Dave here, Fit and Healthy Forever. This is the next one in this series of Could It Be an Adaptive Response? And today it's about heart health. Now I'm sure everyone knows someone close to them or a friend or someone in the family who's had heart problems. This might just debunk some of the myths. We're all led to believe that, oh, he or she died of a heart attack, end of story. But there's always a reason why your heart gives out. It doesn't just give out in your 40s, 50s, 60s. And please don't get on the bandwagon of this genetic thing. Less than 2% of chronic diseases are genetic. So let's have a look at a few things. Einstein once said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Just bear that in mind, because this is what we do. The Black Plague was one of the most devastating pandemics in human history. It killed 30% of Europe. Right now, chronic disease is killing 80% of the Western world, and heart disease is leading the way. So we don't bat an eyelid at that. We just think that's a fact of life. 80% of it's killing of the Western world. Three things have risen exponentially since the early 1900s. Surgery, prescription drug use and chronic illness. The one constant in all that is your genes. Your genes haven't changed in 40,000 years. So I'm not buying this, it's genetic or you're just unlucky. There's a reason why your heart's giving out. If you have heart health problems, then there's a reason behind it. We're never looking for the cause. We're always just accepting the fact that this is it. So this was something done by a Dr. John Bergman and a Dr. Mike Van der Sheldon in America at the Bergman Wellness Center. They're both doctors, corrective chiropractors. And these are some of the things that they've come up with. The one thing that has changed in all those years since the early 1900s is lifestyle. Dr. James Chestnut of the Wellness and Preventative Paradigm said, the human genome doesn't know what to do with grains. Our ancestors just didn't consume them. Our genes were formed long before we ever consumed refined sugars, cereals, breads, pastas, etc. Cereal grains didn't grow in big fields like they do now. So this is, I'll touch on in a minute, this is the Paleolithic diet type thing. Agriculture started about 10,000 years ago. Until then, our ancestors ate a Paleolithic diet, which is nuts, seeds, meat, vegetables. They hardly ever ate grains. They may find odd grains here and there while they were hunter-gathering, but it wasn't a staple of their diet. And if you look back, these diseases were never heard of. So, we aren't eating a diet that our bodies are designed to eat, thus contributing to major sickness in this world. A 2015 study by the Journal of American Medical Association said, eating a low-fat diet for 4 years significantly decreased cognitive function and memory, also increased the risk of every chronic disease. Where does memory come from? Your brain. So this is why we're having problems with it. Your brain is approximately 70% fat. Now since 1985, 86, we've been pushed this low-fat diet, low-fat diet, low-fat diet. And what's happened in all those 30 years? The nation's got fatter and fatter and fatter and more unfit, more chronic disease, more deaths at younger ages. So it's clear to me that the low-fat diet isn't working. Now, if your brain is 70% fat, every nerve in your body has a myelin sheath made from fat, 70 trillion cells approximately in your body, and each of them has a fatty membrane around it. So no wonder we have cognitive issues when we're on low-fat diets. It is not the way to go. It never has been. And I've only learnt this over the last 2 or 3 years. So, Inuit tribes, which are the Eskimos in Greenland, they ate whale blubber for every meal. They had the highest fat intake in human history, but they didn't have any incidences of heart health, heart issues. No heart attacks, no heart problems, nothing. So maybe we could take something from them. By eating a lot of fat and cutting down your grains and eating plenty of vegetables and fresh fruits, then maybe we could change the way that we live our lives a little bit. So the food pyramid, which is still being rolled out in America and in the UK, and I'm not sure which other countries still roll it out. I'm sure you've all seen the food pyramid where it's got grains at the bottom and then your fruits and veg and so on. And at the top the point says use fats sparingly. If you flip that upside down, which I've said before, you'd be better served, you'd be healthier flipping that upside down. They're advocating taking anywhere between 14 and 19 servings of carbohydrates a day, including fruits, vegetables and breads, rice, pastas, grains. How the hell can you survive on 19 servings of carbohydrates a day? Your insulin goes through the roof. Unless you're super energetic, you're not going to burn those off. And sugars that don't get burned, they can store in the cell, they can store in the muscle, they can store in the liver. Anything else has to be stored as fat. Fact. Don't anybody tell you different. That is fact. You'll find that anywhere. So this is why people are obese. They're getting bigger and bigger and more unfit. We're living on grains, and a lot of it is, it's not good grains. For instance, white bread was once whole grain bread. It's been bleached, had all the goodness taken out of it, and it's all that soft, fluffy, cotton wool-like bread. There's no goodness in it at all. No nutritional value, but you smell it in stores when you walk in, you think, oh, it's gorgeous, and everybody wants to, take a loaf home. You've got to get away from that. So with the food pyramid then, it's aimed at agricultural subsidies. It's not based on science. It's all to do, your American Heart Association are funded by Kellogg's and people like that, the people that make Pop-Tarts, and they're funded by people who make grains. So they're not going to tell you don't eat grains because that's where their income comes from. Recent studies have said that most heart attacks are not due to clogged arteries. We have what is called collateral circulation. So if you've got your artery and your body senses a clogging appearing there, you can develop veins that go around that. Like if you were in a traffic jam and you can find a way around that to get back on the same road, your body can actually do that. It's called collateral circulation, or angiogenesis, which is a secondary blood supply. If you Google angiogenesis, it will tell you it's a secondary blood supply, and it can go around blocked arteries. But you have to understand, when your body's doing that, there is a problem there. If your arteries are getting blocked, they're not getting blocked for no reason. It's not just cholesterol floating around and saying, oh, let's go and block this artery today. There's an underlying reason. It's your lifestyle. It's the stress that you put your lifestyle through. Physical, chronic and emotional stress. That's what's causing most diseases today. So arteries sense a possible clogging and they can defend against it by taking a detour called angiogenesis. Now, what causes heart attacks is an increase in the sympathetic nervous system, which is what a chronic stress response is. Chronic stress equals high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So again, I've done blood pressure and cholesterol in this series. It's an adaptive response by your body. And what do? We go to the doctor and he gives you a drug to lower it. Your body's hired it for a reason, not for no reason at all. Your body's not stupid. It doesn't do things for no reason. It's raised your blood pressure, raised your cholesterol to adapt to the toxic environment that you put your body in. So you lowering it with a drug is just masking the symptom. It's going to lower it and eventually it's going to kill you. And they'll say, told you, it was too high, you should have come to us earlier. It's absolute BS. According to the CDC, which is the Centre for Disease Control in America, heart disease is going to kill 1 in 3 people. So you look at the person either side of you, is it you or one of them? You need to take it into your own hands. You can't abdicate your health to somebody else, a pharmacist, a doctor or a surgeon or whatever, and hope to have health forevermore. You need to take it into your own hands and do something for yourself. So, if you look at the fact, food for thought, a couple of things here. 80% of cholesterol is produced by your body. So does cholesterol really clog arteries? Why would your body make 80% of what you need if it's going to clog the arteries with it? Doesn't make sense. Another thing, when you give blood, they take blood samples from your veins. So why wouldn't cholesterol clog veins? They're very, very tiny. It would be easy to clog veins, but you never hear of veins getting clogged. It's always arteries. Arteries are this big and veins are this big. Why wouldn't it clog the vein? So, you know, if there's problems, why are they not taking blood samples from the artery? They're taking it from the vein. Doesn't make sense. So, in the 1970s, the first major autopsy study of patients dying of heart disease was carried out in Heidelberg, Germany. They found that only 20% of cases had clogged arteries, so 80% didn't. So again, it doesn't hold water that it's clogged arteries that are causing heart attacks. The study was by a W. Doerr et al., which et al. Means and his group, his compatriots, and they reported it in the New York Times in 1974. The largest study in 2004 found only 41% of cases had clogged arteries. So again, 59% didn't have clogged arteries. So there's got to be another underlying reason. Clogged arteries only happen when there's an underlying reason. They don't happen for nothing. So, again, the New England Journal of Medicine did a worldwide study of over 900 patients at 62 centres, and all patients were treated within 12 hours of a heart attack. And Dr. Grimes said the study offers no evidence that routine stent replacement after heart attack will reduce further complications such as stroke or heart attacks. Stents actually caused a higher death rate. So the stent is when they put in a sort of little cage into your artery and expanding it to open it up. Now, if you've got a clogged artery, it's not the inner wall of the artery, you've got an endothelial layer, and it's underneath that endothelial layer that's been broken or damaged or bleeding, and the plaque has gone in, the cholesterol plaque's gone in there to patch it up. Now, if you were opening that up with a stent from the inside, you're cracking or breaking that plaque open, and you could actually bleed to death. But nobody's ever going to tell you this, because otherwise they'd have to take responsibility of doing it with the stent, of doing the damage with the stent. They're not going to take that responsibility. So, the Journal of American College of Cardiology in 2003, after a 7-year study, said although stents have been claimed to be life-saving measures, they do not prevent heart attacks or save lives. So what could be causing heart disease? Could it be an adaptive response to an imbalance in the system and a decreased parasympathetic nervous supply? Now, I'm trying to do a little bit of work on the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. I've got some notes here. Your parasympathetic is your rest, digest and repair mode. And your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight. When one's higher, the other's lower. You can't have them both the same. One's high, one's low. So you're either in a fight or flight mode, or you're in a rest, repair and digest mode. You can't have both. I'll try and do more on that as I understand it myself later on. So, this won't be made public knowledge, because the routine plan would be to get the nervous system checked by a corrective chiropractor who could probably address the issue, but this wouldn't be profitable to medical or drug companies. Everything starts with your nervous system. If your nervous system's broken, you're going to have all sorts of health problems. If you go to a corrective chiropractor and they get your nervous system all in working order and adjust your spine where all your nervous system is, the chances are you're going to have less chronic diseases. But that's not good for drug companies because they don't make any money out of you being healthy. They make money out of you being sick. In America now, they're calling it, instead of calling it the healthcare system, they're calling it the sick care system, because their nation has never been sicker. And the drug companies are loving it because they're making billions of dollars out of medications and surgeries and prescriptions. It falls into place for me. It makes a lot of sense it sounded silly at first, but it's making sense now as to why that is. So, studies are showing approximately 80% of heart attacks are caused by drastically decreased parasympathetic activity. As I say, I'll try and do a bit more research on this and try and bring you something. It's difficult to get your head around, so I'll try and simplify it, and if I can't, I'll leave it. The National Institute for Health Research and Health Technology Assessments did a study on the benefits of taking aspirin each day. Now, they always used to say take an aspirin a day to stave off heart attacks because it thins your blood. So if you listen to this, the benefits of taking it each day, yes, 10 to 15% drop in coronary heart disease, which sounds magnificent. 33 to 46 fewer deaths per 100,000 patients. These are the benefits. But if you look at the adverse effects, a 37% increase in gastrointestinal bleeding. That's another 68 to 117% people per 100,000. And 32 to 38% increase in hemorrhagical strokes. So you can save 10 to 15% in coronary heart disease and kill 37% with gastrointestinal bleeding. So yeah, there's a trade-off there, but I know what I prefer to do. So Eileen Clark, who's a professor of public health research and director of Warwick Medical School, said, "It's clear that there is an incredibly fine balance between the possible benefits and risks of intervention. We need to be extremely careful about over-promoting aspirin intervention without having first fully understood the negative side effects. Aspirin is supposed to be a blood thinner, but so is water and so is vegetable juice, and they don't cause deaths." So it is that simple. So just to finish off then, the Archive of Internal Medicine, October the 28th, 2002, said that NSAIDs, which are, just get this right, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they may cause 20% of all heart failures and cause high blood pressure. Studies of more than 80,000 women between the ages of 31 and 50 who were initially free of high blood pressure. 2 years later, women who used NSAIDs 22 days or more per month, the risk of high blood pressure increased by 86%. Now, I've sat at work and watched people taking these NSAIDs. NSAIDs are, like I say, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. They're things like ibuprofen, Tylenol, naproxen, aspirin, Advil, Motrin, Midvel, diclofenac. And 5 of those, which are ibuprofen, aspirin, Advil, Motrin and Midol, are over the counter, you can buy. They're causing something like 86% of heart failure, high blood pressures and heart failures. Now, I've seen people sitting with boxes on the desk every time they get a migraine or a pain or this or that. There's an underlying reason. Get that into your head. Just because you've got a headache or a pain here or you don't feel too good, you take one of these tablets and it might relieve the pain, but over time it's toxic to your system. It's going to kill you over the long term. So again, just to finish off, what do you need to protect yourself from heart attack? Like every other chronic illness, I call it the 5 gets. Get your nervous system checked, get regular exercise, get proper nutrition, get sufficient rest and recovery, and get prayer and meditation into your daily life. Now, I haven't got round to the prayer bit, but meditation I've tried, and it does not sort of give you a chill feeling and brings you back down to earth, and you feel like for 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, you feel like you're floating. It's calming, and you're sort of trying to clear your mind of all thoughts and just concentrating on nice things. And I try and do it I wouldn't say I did it every day. I perhaps try and do it 2, 3, 4 times a week. I'm trying to build up to it every day. The prayer thing, I don't fully understand, but people who are into prayer think that, you know, the thought of prayer can actually help with healing. I'm not sure about that personally, but get these 5 things into your life. It really does help. I can tell you from first-hand experience. So, as always, thanks everyone for taking the time to listen. I'm sure if you try some of these things, you'll get some benefits. So until the next video, like and subscribe, tell your friends, and just give this some serious thought, please. Until the next video, stay fit and healthy forever. Thank you.